We now return to Let's Play S.O.R.S. So I've looked through pretty much all of Tio's emails, and they're all pretty benign. I mean, it's really just him sort of telling me the various things I need to look for and the problems and diagnoses. The only thing that stood out to me, though, was this one email where he mentions his favorite philosopher, who said that we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence is not an act, but a habit. This quote is attributed to Aristotle, so I am going to make the assumption that that is the password. Let's try it. Aristotle. It worked! I would like to take a moment to congratulate myself for being as twisted, devious, and possibly cunning as the developers. Honestly, that wasn't too terrible to figure that one out. The Star Fox one actually threw me for a loop. See, the thing is, though, most of his emails mention S.O.R.S or say S.O.R.S, and so I think that's the red herring there. Just like, where is it? I don't even remember the game. He mentions it all the goddamn time. Terraform, yeah, just like Terraform is the red herring for his password. The mention of say S.O.R.S or S.O.R.S is for Tio. Anyway, we got it right. So hopefully we won't be hacked. That's great, because if this is in fact the last mission, which I really, really hope it is, it'll make it that much easier. So let's go and see some patients. Telemedicine booths contain video screens to connect patients. Okay, I think we read this one too. Scanning hack detected. Not anymore. Okay, here we go. Big breath. I've only got 3 time codes to use on this, so that's how it's gonna have to go. Noise 78. Got that done. Let's begin with the legs, because that's where immediately the first one after using that code. I'm pretty sure you've got osteoporosis, just based on those numbers there. Don't think you've got diabetes. No, because that's actually a pretty good number. And the bane of my existence, getting the frickin' breast. Look, I put in the noise code. What are you fucking doing? I think that upper one indicates health, although I don't know, because you look at those other things over there and they're all below. I mean, they're all bad. And then we've got these ones that are going up. I'm going to assume you don't have it. We're wasting some time here. I'm glad figuring out those passwords has not been as difficult as they could have been, or at least that I was guessing correctly. See, the thing is, unlike Papers, Please, which has a whole wiki dedicated to the story and how to get various endings and all that stuff, this game has absolutely no information whatsoever, and that might possibly change. I guess this game came out fairly recently. I mean, I'm not playing it as it just came out. It came out a few months ago, maybe? I don't remember. You don't have that. So you've got osteoporosis. Blood pressure is normal. You are looking at that. I just wasted a bunch of my own time there. Drink small amounts regularly. Come on. This is one of my main gripes there, where it just centers around one spot. So we got some high marks on that. I'm willing to bet you don't have that. You do, however, have that. Tetris shape, Tetris shape. Let's see what we can get over here. Nope, different shape. Do you have any other cancers? I hate that I have to type that in for every patient. I don't think you do. Let's go look at this. That's above. Those are the ones that don't mean anything, though. Those are well above. So you've got that. That just means the 1, so that you've got that. That was patient number 3? Does not exercise. Change that. That is below. I'm gonna get, yeah, you've got that. Pretty sure you don't have diabetes just based on how high that blood is. Nope. That's a pretty high mark there. Gotta get in the habit of doing that. See, God, those are really difficult to tell because those are hanging around that 1 mark. And just because that's way up there, I mean, I don't know, God. I guess I can afford to lose a few. I am losing a lot of time, though, digging around on this stuff. See if you got the HIV. You do not. I'm guessing you don't have the cancer either. So let's do that. You've got osteoporosis. You need both of those. Rarely socializes. That doesn't help me when you do that. I think you've got osteoporosis. You do. I really shouldn't grab this one right now. I'm getting out of sequence. It's going to screw me over. I'm going to forget something, thinking that I already did it, which has happened before. I'm not seeing a lot of the white dots, so I don't think you have cancer, but that doesn't mean you don't. I mean, you might. It's kind of ridiculous that sometimes you can tell within about 5 clicks, and sometimes you do it about 10, and you find out they still had cancer. You just had to click that 11th time. And it keeps giving me the worthless purple dots. The ones I'm interested in are on the right and the left. Now see, we got some ones that are high up, so I'm going to guess you don't have it. Also just based on the fact that you're male. Again, that doesn't mean anything. Heart rate normal, good. Looks like we're dealing with criminals still. I thought we were beyond that, but I guess not. So this is probably the morality test, right? I mean, this is what it was all based on in the first... Okay, I don't think you have that. That initial question when I signed on, or signed in at the beginning of the game, was basically for this very thing. Yeah, I think you're going to get a second chance, lady, because you don't have breast cancer. You do have diabetes. Let's get that back. You might have HIV. Come on. Nope. All I need is a shape. Okay, so you just got diabetes. Okay, 2 minutes. I think I've got 2 more patients. I'm not good at tracking that stuff in my head while I'm looking at other stuff. You got that. Murder, high blood pressure. You probably got diabetes based on how low that stuff is. All I need is a glucose. There we go. That's all below so far. And then we got that one that's high. So you see, we got those ones that are high up there. And they're slightly above. Oh, for God's sake. I'm going to say you don't have that. Because I can't actually... It looks to me like you probably do. Those are all pretty low marks. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to say you've got that. Okay, I'm going to have to put in another time code here. Time 35. Because I have to check for yeah, it's the gastrointestinal cancer. Ah, come on. Now see that one on the right there in the red? Like, how can you tell if that's not being covered up? Because it was covered up. It was covered up by the yellow. Which is not cool. You know what? I'm going to say you got breast cancer too. I mean, let's do a couple more marks here. Yeah, you've totally got that. So you got, god damn lady, you got everything. So you got the diabetes, you've got to get a follow-up. You've got the osteoporosis, which I just did. You've got, how many marks? It looks like the 1 mark. And then you've got the 1 mark. I was not able to tell if you've got that. You've got HIV, so that's a special. And you need, like, that as well, right? Wasn't I supposed to do something else? I don't know. Let's do that. I should have just gotten rid of this patient. This was a difficult patient. I got everything right, though. Time 41. I'm going to save that last one. Feeling stressed. This might come down to the wire on this one. Come on. Give me something. Give me something here. Fucking God, give me something. I need a shape. You don't have that. I'm going to say you don't have that. I'm going to say you don't have osteoporosis. What do we need to check for again? This. Need to check for this. That's pretty high. Okay, I'm going to say you just have diabetes. Not bad. I would have had a few seconds remaining. 100%. I would have had a few seconds remaining had I not used that code, which I now have to cross out. Oh, that was it. Straight after your shift, you get an email. The instructions are simple. You do as they say, and soon enough the truth is out. Media outlets scream with headlines of cover-ups, indicated by an unknown hospital employee. Rachel says it's better this way, anonymously. She says this thing is bigger than you or her. Tio's actions are revealed, and there is public outcry. The government condemns the hospital and shuts it pending further investigation. All serving staff are moved to slum scrapers until the investigation is complete. Tio is sentenced to life on board a prison ship. You never hear from him again. There are rumors as to what goes on in those floating fortresses, but as long as the criminals are kept there securely, no one asks too many questions. Armando's name is cleared. You hear from him. His early exit from the hospital detached him from any blame, and he's working in another hospital now. He thanks you and says he's trying to get you some work. Jane is stuck in a slum scraper like you. She's angry at you because, like everyone from the hospital, she's now unemployed. Only time will tell if she can forgive you. Now your only choice is grueling shift work in various jobs until the investigation is over and your reputation as a doctor is cleared. But you've worked with enough patients before to know that people who need treatment will pay a price to be seen quickly, even by an unofficial doctor. In your slum scraper, you quickly gain a reputation for quick and easy fixes, and this allows you to earn some money. But slum scraper citizens have no access to outside leisure facilities, and there's only so many floor gardens you can visit in your slum scraper before you get bored. You'd heard about the rife drugs trade in slum scrapers before, but soon, out of boredom, you choose to experience it firsthand. Turns out recreational drugs on top of the circadian rhythm drugs you're taking are heaven. Rachel supports you as best she can. Food credits and money come your way now and then. Then she reveals her next target, the prison ships. She wants to expose their ugly insides for all to see. She keeps saying you did the right thing, that truth prevailed. She may be right. As you sit in your box room, high on a cocktail of recreational and circadian rhythm drugs that are slowly changing your perception of night and day, required so you can work your shifts properly, you wonder what damage she could do by exposing the prison ships. It's the right thing, she says. The uncertainty of what Rachel's actions may bring make you feel a bit sick. Or it could be the drugs. So, like Papers, Please, the good ending is still kind of bad, or at least uncertain. Obviously I haven't played the other endings, but this feels like it was probably one of the better ones. It was also probably one of the easier routes, since we were able to avoid a lot of the hacking problems by siding with Rachel. Maybe if I'd gone the other way, we would have relied on Dennis for help. Overall, I'd say it's a decent game. The challenge is certainly there to the point of aggravation at times, and I can only imagine how much worse it would have been constantly dealing with hacking. But I still maintain that some of that challenge has more to do with luck than skill, and getting better at this still wouldn't change the unfair occurrence of scanning for cancer 10 times and finding nothing, but if you'd done it an 11th time, you would have found the patient actually had something. Likewise, the instances when I had to click so many times to get a dot that wasn't clumped together in the same spot just wasted time, and that's a key difference between this and Papers, Please. In Papers, Please, the challenge came from acting quickly and accurately, and all the information was presented at once. It was up to the player to get better at reading it. This game negates that ability by requiring a lot of information you have to wait for, so it almost forces you to guess sometimes. It creates an artificial urgency where the player is never in control, but really I suppose that reflects the game world with the unfair expectations and work conditions put on the characters. But that said, there are a few suggestions I have for the game. The first is proofreading, since there were several errors throughout from the beginning. Secondly, finish giving shortcuts to the interface. Typing was clearly part of the original design, but in practice I don't think it adds anything. I mean, the chat aspect wasn't even necessary, and there wasn't really any time to use it. And I'm actually kind of surprised that the patient heartbeat thing never came into play. It would seem like a stressed out patient needing to be talked to would be another aspect to consider, but it'd be almost impossible to play with the timer and lengthy scanning process, not to mention wrestling with hacking, but maybe that's why it's not there. It would also be nice if the guide was a little more clear. Showing a picture that's not what I'm actually looking for and saying a healthy patient's dots are slightly different is just confusing. I mean, you basically have to use experience from playing to determine what is right, and even then the game might feel otherwise. Breast cancer is probably the worst part of this game. The dot spread is very confusing, made worse by how narrow it is, and the guide is unhelpful. I mean, compare it to osteoporosis, which was obvious in the movement of the dots, and breast cancer just needs a slightly bigger spread to make it more obvious too. At times it felt like only the spike in the middle actually mattered, and if that was the case, the guide should have clarified that. And the last thing I want to say is that the game is not very accessible, since it relies on sounds and colors without any other distinguishing indicators. A deaf, colorblind player could easily play Papers, Please, but not this game, and I know most developers don't consider stuff like that, and it would be hard to change for this game, but it's a part of game design that should be noted. But on its own merits, I'd say this was a good game, and even though it was inspired by Papers, Please, it's definitely not a clone, and it brings enough of its own mechanics to the table. I'm kind of curious to see what the different storylines bring in terms of challenge, but I don't think I'll be hopping back into it for a while. I did this whole series in 2 sittings, and I could use a lifestyle adjustment. Anyway, that was S.O.R.S. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next Let's Play.